In the case of the United States, the situation in Afghanistan lasted for over a decade, where it was under so-called preliminary examination. So it was based on publicly available information. The ICC prosecutor would not use its investigative powers, but rely on media reports, on UN reports, other NGOs reports, etc. And yes, once it comes to the conclusion that there is a reasonable belief that there were crimes that are committed in violation of the ICC, and it has a jurisdiction, and it has to also satisfy other requirements, admissibility and the interests of justice, it would then, because this one was initiated by the prosecutor's office, it would have to get an authorization from the pretrial chamber, a chamber of 3 judges of the ICC that then examine the whole evidence. The evidence that she has is really relying heavily. Well, we don't have access to that information, but we believe that her evidence is based on the Senate torture report, the well-documented investigation of the CIA involvement in the most brutal and gruesome acts of humiliation and torture against prisoners. And that torture report was released in December of 2014, basically made put the United States on notice that if the United States is not acting in light of the declassified parts of the report, because the report itself, the whole thing, was still classified. So we don't even have a clue what's in the details of that report, because the U.S. government, both under the Obama administration and under the Trump administration, resisting declassification. But what is publicly available, and there is enough to justify opening an investigation. So the prosecutor looked into that information. It looked at what the United States has done in order to hold officials accountable, both at the level of the U.S. military and the level of the CIA officials, and level of all chain of command, meaning looking not just at the lower rank officers and military personnel, but also at the leaders who sanctioned this policy. You have the highest level of the White House and the Bush administration that ordered the torture program. So they looked at what the Bush administration, the Obama administration have done in order to investigate, and they reached the conclusion that they were not credible investigations, and that's why they're stepping in. And they're stepping in because this is important for the rule of law, it's important for upholding international principles against impunity, and it's also providing victims of torture their day in court. And that is where I think more than anything is important and being sidelined by the whole response to Pompeo.